Coming up on Network Africa, the federal government of Nigeria declares bandit groups as terrorists. Rescue efforts for Tanzania's boat accident called off as all persons are accounted for. Plus, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi visits Kenya. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. It has been long anticipated, but finally, the federal government of Nigeria has declared bandit groups operating in any parts of the country as terrorists. The declaration is contained in the federal government's gazette released today by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federal and Minister of Justice. It prescribes the existence of such groups as Yan Bindiga, Yantada and similar groups, and restrains any person or group of persons from participating in activities of any of them. The order was given in line with the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011, warning that any person or groups of persons participating in any form of activities of the groups will be violating the law and liable to prosecution. The government's decision follows widespread criticisms over its reluctance to proscribe the bandit groups in the face of the havoc they have wreaked across the country, especially in the northern part of the nation. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has been speaking on a number of burning issues in the country. In an interview with Channels Television, President Buhari condemned the privatization of the power sector, questioning the capabilities of the owners while refusing support for the creation of state police. He also maintains that the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, should face the law, but he does not rule out a political solution on the matter. Our correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
In what could be described as a rare conversation with the media, President Muhammadu Buhari, in an exclusive sit-down with Channels Television, had a lot to say on a plethora of national issues. A couple of months after meeting with Southeast leaders and promising to look into their request for the release of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the president insists he does not interfere in judicial matters, but wants Mr. Kanu to answer for his actions, even though he does not rule out the possibility of a political solution.
No, we cannot release him. There is a possibility of political solution. If people behave themselves, all well and good. But you can't go to a foreign country and keep on sending incorrect economic and security problem against your country and thinking that you never have to account for what you have been doing. Let him account for what he has been doing.
The president prides in the security achievement in the northeast while vowing to deal decisively with bandits in the northwest. He also thinks that state police is not the best option to combat insecurity.
State police is not an option. Now, find out now the relationship between local government and the governors. Are they getting, in the third tier of government, are they getting what they are supposed to get constitutionally? Are they getting it? Try and see those people from local government that have confidence in you to tell you the truth. The fighting between local government and the governors.
The conversation also focuses on infrastructure development, including the power sector and the administration's borrowings from China.
TCN is 100% government.
Sure.
But we inherited what they call discourse. They almost divided the country almost based on geopolitical zones. What was the basis? The people that own them, who are they? They are not electrical engineers. They don't have money. It's just a political favor. We take that where it is necessary. I told you now of something that I'm sure you know, what it used to be between Lagos and Ibadan alone, not to go to the rest of the country. But we got the Chinese to help us in the rail, in the roads. How can we turn that down? So the Chinese are welcome. Anybody that is prepared to come and help us our infrastructure, I told you, the roads, the rail, and power will be welcome.
The president explains his opposition to direct primaries.
I want people to be given a choice. You can't give them one option and you think that you are being democratic. Let them have the three options.
He had just one word for the main opposition party.
PDP, failure.
And he would not speak on his successor.
No, I wouldn't, because he may be eliminated if I mention it. I better keep it secret.
He advises young people against depending on the government for jobs, as he charges them to also look in the direction of agriculture. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Well, it's barely a week into the new year, and a Nigerian family in Johannesburg, South Africa, is in mourning as one of their own died in an encounter with the police. While eyewitnesses say he was asphyxiated by a group of Johannesburg Metropolitan policemen, the police say he was choked by wraps of drugs he swallowed to evade being caught in a search. Well, this adds to a long list of similar scenarios that have played out over the years. We spoke to the Nigerian Consul General in South Africa, Mr. Abdulmalik Ahmed, on this development, as other issues, some of which he described as also worrisome.
33-year-old Kingsley Amobi Chukwueze was said to have been running an auto spare parts business in central Johannesburg, but he died on the 4th of January. Nigeria's Consul General Abdulmalik Ahmed visited the police and his family for details of what happened.
I had a report that there was an incident at the Johannesburg Central Business District involving a Nigerian and a group of policemen, the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department, and that encounter unfortunately led to the death of our Nigerian brother. Very unfortunate incident. I learned that in the encounter, the Nigerian brother was asphyxiated. About 3-4 policemen held him by the jugular, and then he passed on and died.
Meanwhile, in a recorded message, the spokesperson for the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department told a different story.
Officers spotted a red Polo where it appeared that a drug deal was taking place. The driver said that he was working with his brother, and officers proceeded to Elof Street. When the brother saw the younger brother with officers, he ran inside business and swallowed drugs. The suspect was confirmed dead when ambulance arrived.
This is a scenario cycle that has been repeating itself one too many times over the years and was on the agenda during the 10th Binational Commission held in Abuja last year. Hopefully, it will soon be a thing of the past. But another cycle of violence has the Consul General and South African authorities quite worried.
In the past 3 weeks or thereabout, we have lost close to 30 Nigerians. Violence, Nigerians killing themselves, court-related violences and what have you. That's a very sad and unfortunate development. We have continued to work and liaise with the Nigerian associations, and then, of course, well-meaning Nigerians as well, to try to talk to these people.
On the issue of passports, the delays or the lack of booklets, the Consul General says progress has been made in improving services and hopefully more booklets will be sent over from Abuja to help clear the backlog. Recently, allegations of extortion of Nigerian passport applicants by consulate officials were rife.
We have identified those involved in that misdemeanor. As we speak, they are being disciplined. 3 of our staffs that appointment has actually been terminated because of their role in this regard. We take this opportunity to appeal to the Nigerian community not to give any bribe to anyone for passport, And if anyone requests for same, they should report directly to our office. We can deal with that.
Another major change from this development announced by the Consul General is the removal of the use of agents for passport application, a part of the process he attempted to formalize last year. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Prison officials in Liberia say all 15 prison facilities in the country have this week run out of food for inmates. This has made 2 prisons, including the main Monrovia Central Prison, to temporarily shut their doors to newcomers. Well, the situation is being blamed on a number of factors, including delays in remitting funds for food and upkeep of prison facilities. But the director of prisons, Salish Kwada, says that the government is doing everything to resolve the situation. He said that after some interventions, the 2 prisons that had stopped admitting inmates had reopened the doors and food is reaching others. Well, joining us to discuss this further is a lawyer and director of Prisons Rights Advocacy Initiative, Mr. Ahmed Adetola Kasim. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, what do you make of all this, talking about this calls to question, the rights of prisoners here, food running out?
Well, that appears to be strange, even if it is not. Of course, we have heard of inadequacy of food, overcrowding and the likes, but not having at all. I think this is the first time I'm hearing that in any prison in the world. So be that as it may, I think it's just negligence on the part of government and definitely a breach of the rights of these inmates. I mean, in accordance with the UN standard minimum rules for treatment of prisoners, which provides in Rule 22 that food, not just food, but adequate food, which meets the standards for health, for strength, and the likes, must be provided as at when due to inmates. So definitely this is a breach of that particular rule. And of course, what the inmates need, their basic needs are food, accommodation, medication, and also access to the courts. So, and food comes top of all that. And lacking that, of course, is in fact, I can't even fathom it. Let me just put it that way.
Well, the delay in remittance of funds for food and upkeep of prison inmates have been always been an issue in prisons across the continent, even here in Nigeria. What steps do you think the government should do to stop this?
I think it's just about prioritizing the needs of the inmates. Because they're in the lowest rung of classes, they can't fend for themselves, they can't move out to work. So it's about priority. And there's this cliche that if you want to know the standard of any country or their focus, then what you need to look, you don't look at those at the higher rung of the society, then look at how they treat their prisoners. So if every government has this at the back of their mind, then they have to prioritize the needs of these inmates. Because what you find out most times, and some of the reasons for this is because of the overcrowding. For instance, in Liberia, in the Monrovia Central Prison, the prison should ordinarily hold 350%. That's the normal capacity. But as we speak, it is holding more than 1,300, almost 1,400 inmates. Of course, the ration allotted to that particular prison was about maybe normally 15 to 17 bags. But the prison officers claimed that within the past 3 months, they have had to use about between 20 to 22 bags per month, which of course overshot what they should have normally done. So in these guys, there must be proper preparation and also ensuring that these prisons are not overcrowded. Because if the issue of overcrowding is not resolved, then this kind of problem will keep rearing its head. So the first thing that the government needs to do is to resolve the issue of overcrowding. And secondly is to prioritize the needs of the inmates and have like a special intervention, is it funds, I will call it, or a program, so that if there's anything, they would, of course, have to draw from that before, going back to the normal routine. So with this, I feel that, which will resolve this issue of food shortages.
All right, then. Thank you so much, lawyer and director of Prison Rights Advocacy Initiative, Mr. Ahmed Adetola Kasim.
Thank you very much for having me.
Still ahead on the program. More COVID disruptions for teams ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations as the upcoming games also encourage few vaccine skeptics to get jabbed. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Well, the rescue mission in Tanzania's boat accident has been called off as all persons are now accounted for. According to authorities, the total fatalities stands at 10 and they have all been buried. Well, the divers team leader, Kasim Kalfan, says there's no evidence of any missing persons in the water. 10 people survived the accident and they recount that the engine of the boat went off twice before the boat started sinking. Morocco and China have signed an agreement aimed at greatly increasing cooperation under Beijing's Joint Belt and Road Initiative. Under this agreement, Chinese companies will be encouraged to step up investment in Moroccan industries. The deal involves establishing large-scale projects in technology, trade, and agriculture. China's Belt and Road Initiative, which launched in 2013, is a huge infrastructure project aimed at expanding the country's global trade links and political influence. Well, China says it wants to appoint a special envoy for the Horn of Africa that will help tackle security in that region. Former Minister Wang Yi made this known during his state visit to Kenya. Mr. Wang arrived on Wednesday evening at the Moi International Airport in Mombasa, where he was received by Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Rachel Omamo. He's scheduled to meet with Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta during his two-day stay in the East African country. His visit to Kenya is part of his three-nation tour of Africa. Prior to arriving in Kenya, he visited Eritrea. He's also scheduled to visit Comoros after completing his tour of Kenya.
First, step up dialogue within this region to overcome security challenges. The countries and people on the Horn of Africa need to stay free from the major powers, geogain, and to be firm in pursuing unity, solidarity, and greater strength. It is important to have consultation on equal footing and to take the destiny of this region firmly in their own hands. We suggest that the countries in this region may convene a conference on the peace of the Horn of Africa in order to discuss in depth on the matter, to share political consensus, and to coordinate actions. China will appoint a special envoy of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Horn of Africa to provide the necessary support for this process.
We agreed to pursue further discussions and to work together in the furtherance of peace and security globally and in our region, and to strengthen our cooperation at the United Nations Security.
Kenyan journalist Cyrus Wambati joins us now for more on the visit of the Chinese Foreign Minister. Hello, Cyrus. Thank you for speaking to us. What more can you tell us about today's meeting of the Chinese Foreign Minister? We understand he's expected to meet with Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Good afternoon. Mr. Wang arrived in Mombasa, Kenya, that's the coastal city of Kenya, yesterday, Wednesday in the afternoon. And that's where he has been since then. And he was scheduled, he has already met President Uhuru Kenyatta there, where they visited and toured a terminal oil, which is being constructed at around 40 billion Kenyan shillings. And part of it is being financed by China. So they toured the facility before they went into a meeting again, because earlier on Mr. Wang had met the Kenyan Foreign Affairs Minister, Madam Rachel Omamo, whereby they announced a number of agreements which they have signed, including donation of 10 million COVID vaccine from China, allowing or rather the export of avocado from Kenya to China, which will start almost immediately, and a number of kind of agricultural deals here and there. I mean, his arrival comes the same. It came the same day he arrived in Eritrea, whereby he met the local president Isaias Afwerki, and during which actually he condemned the U.S. for issuing sanctions against Eritrea for fighting Tigray. Mr. Wang's visit was not a surprise. It was seen coming because even the region, most countries have been leaning towards China in terms of for help here and there, financial help. So I mean, many Kenyans are seeing it as I mean, in Kenya, usually whenever a Chinese official visits of that caliber, it's rarely noticed as compared to the Western region, which usually hypes their visit here and there. But his visit has so much to gain from them in so many ways, because China, mind you, has invested heavily in Kenya in terms of road, railway, even the airports. They're the ones who are constructing main roads here in Nairobi, Kenya rather. They're the ones constructing here and there. So it's seen as a kind of a sign of confidence among many Kenyans between Kenya and China, because of the deals which have been signed today. There are around 8 deals which are key in terms of helping Kenya to develop ahead.
Right then, thank you so much, Cyrus Mbati, Kenyan journalist. 12 Rwandans, including women and children, have been pushed out by Burundian authorities after refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccination. They spent more than 5 days on the Nyakarama Hill in Kirundo province in northern Burundi. They're said to have fled the ongoing mandatory vaccination campaign in Rwanda. The provincial governor, Albert Hatungimana, directed that they be deported back to Rwanda. Last Thursday, 9 other Rwandan nationals were repatriated to their country by the authorities in the province. They had also fled the mandatory vaccination campaign. In the security meeting, the governor signaled on Tuesday that he could not welcome people who do not adhere to the government's COVID-19 response program. He said everyone had to get vaccinated so as to be allowed to stay in the country. Ivorian ministers are being prevented from attending cabinet meeting after they failed to present COVID-19 negative test certificates. Health officials announced on the 31st of December the mandatory presentation of COVID-19 tests before being allowed to large gatherings. Wednesday's cabinet meeting was the first of the year, and the absence of 8 members of the government was noted. According to local media, absentees included the Minister of Communication, Amadou Coulibaly, due to illness, and other government members who did not submit their COVID test results to have access to the council room. At the beginning of the meeting, President Alassane Ouattara expressed concern over the rising number of COVID cases. Côte d'Ivoire has registered more than 75,000 cases and 727 related deaths since the beginning of the pandemic 2 years ago. The first major football tournament of 2022 kicks off on Sunday with the Africa Cup of Nations taking center stage. A host of Premier League and European stars are expected to descend on Cameroon, with the host facing Burkina Faso in the opening game. Well, first scheduled to start in June 2021, but subsequently brought forward to January last year to avoid Cameroon's rainy season. The tournament has been delayed to 2022 because of the pandemic. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has faced criticism over the timing of its continental showpiece, and last month had to face down rumors the tournament will be further delayed or moved following the emergence of the Omicron variant of COVID-19.
Low COVID-19 vaccination rates in Africa Cup of Nations host Cameroon and a 4th wave of the coronavirus across much of the continent could make for sparsely attended matches when the soccer finals kick off on Sunday. Cameroon announced last month that it would require spectators at Africa's premier soccer competition to be fully vaccinated and show a negative test result before entering stadiums. That has encouraged some fans to get jabbed, doctors and nurses say. Cedric Frantambende, a soccer fan who lives in Douala, is one of them.
I am a fan of the sport, and I play as well. I come for two reasons. Firstly, to protect myself by getting vaccinated, and also to get to the stadium to take part in this special event.
Doctors and nurses said they had seen an uptick in vaccinations since the government announced the stadium policy.
At the moment, here at the center, we have people who wish to travel. We have the people who want to get vaccinated to reinforce their immune system. And now we have those who want to get vaccinated because it's a condition to access the stadiums.
But the overall vaccination numbers remain extremely low. Just 2.3% of Cameroon's more than 26 million people are fully vaccinated. Health Ministry data shows, even though doses are now widely available. Yannick Dutse, who was playing in a pickup match in Douala one recent afternoon, said he had dreamed of going to see Cameroon's indomitable Lions play in the tournament, but that the vaccination requirement was a deal breaker.
It will mean that a lot of people won't make it to the stadium because there are not many people who want to be vaccinated, so the stadiums will be a little empty. For such an AFCON, it's true we can say it is the first AFCON for us because we're young. It will be very difficult, so I'd prefer still to do a test to get to the stadium, but the vaccine, I'm against it.
Others, like Moise Nyoma Dindikwa, are still hesitating.
Some people take the vaccines, others get headaches. So I would rather see how it looks before maybe taking the vaccine. But if it is an obligation, as I love football, I will most certainly get this vaccine to go to the stadium.
Low vaccination rates are common across many African countries, which initially struggled to secure doses and now face public skepticism as well as logistical challenges to get shots and arms.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.